With a BA from Stanford and a PhD in the history of American civilization from Harvard, Jonathan Veitch taught in the English department at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Though we in the English department here like to think that we launched his teaching career when he was a visiting instructor with us in 1990-91. He later joined the faculty of the New School in New York, where he rose through the ranks as Chair of Humanities, Associate Provost, and finally Dean of the Eugene Lang College. On July 1st, 2009, he became the 15th president of Occidental College. When David Oxtoby asked me to introduce President Veitch, I was happy to agree, having long admired his 1997 study of Nathanael West, a brilliant book called American Superrealism. In it, Professor Veitch is able to reconnect West, surely one of the 20th century's weirdest writers, with the larger culture and economic forces of the 1930s that would forever change our country. Writing about the psychic displacement of the Great Depression, for instance, Veitch observes that for most Americans, to confront finance capitalism was to confront an economic system that was in some fundamental ways no longer intelligible. Sound familiar? I knew something about Professor Veitch, the scholar then, but less about President Veitch, the leader of our liberal arts neighbor 30 miles due west. So I did what any self-respecting researcher would do. I went to Google. There I listened to President Veitch's address on Occidental's 125th Founders Day, given just a few weeks ago, in which he explained the value of an Occidental education in terms that should resonate with members of this audience. Occidental matters, he said, because it has engaged us in the highest calling of a liberal arts education, the provision of a life lived in reflection on the questions we must ask ourselves and the choices we must make in order to flourish as human beings. Of course, there's also some traditional rivalry between these two premier liberal arts colleges. In explaining Oxy's commitment to athletics in his inaugural address, Veitch boasted, "We've had a great deal of success in our athletic program, and there are many dead sage hens to prove it." I don't think he was talking about indigenous Southern California fowls. But we'll forgive him that, surely, as we pause to congratulate him on his first 3 years of leadership at Occidental and to recognize his contribution to liberal education on a national level. Mr. President, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the faculty of Pomona College, it is my great honor to present to you Jonathan Veitch for the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Jonathan Veitch, by the power vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters at Pomona College, honoris causa.
Well, happy Mother's Day. I want to begin by wishing my mother, Carol Lee, and my wife, Sarah, a happy Mother's Day. I'm honored and quite moved by this award, and I want to thank the Board of Trustees, the faculty, and graduates of Pomona College. And I especially want to thank David Oxtoby, who has, from the moment of my arrival at Occidental, served as both a mentor and a friend. As you know, he's an extremely busy man, the leader of a great college, so the fact that he took the time to single me out and take me in hand means a great deal to me. Some of you may know that being David's friend can be a humbling experience, particularly if you are on a bicycle. Not long after my arrival at Occidental, he took me on a 35-mile ride near Ojai that left me gasping for air. He is a tough man to keep up with, whether on a bicycle or off, but I have been inspired by his example, and never more so than this past year. I bring you greetings from the Occidental Tigers. I can say with confidence there is nothing a tiger loves more than a sage hen. For dinner, or just about any meal, really. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist, and I'm sure you would have been disappointed in me if I had. As you know, Occidental and Pomona have one of the oldest rivalries in college sports, dating back to 1895, when Occidental, I'm sorry to say, defeated Pomona 16-0 in their first football game. Pomona did win, eventually. But that didn't happen until 5 years later when the Sage Hens took the ungentlemanly step of hiring a professional football coach. Some schools will do anything for a win. I take this honorary degree less as an honor for me than as a warm endorsement and renewal of a long-standing relationship between Pomona and Occidental. As you know, both colleges were founded in 1887. Both institutions are celebrating their 125th anniversaries this year. But longevity in and of itself is less important than what these two institutions stand for and represent. Throughout their history, Pomona and Occidental have remained committed to the transformative power of a liberal arts education, and they have done so in a world that does not always appreciate or understand its value. I was reminded of that value a few years ago when I was sent by the Christian Johnson Foundation to provide some advice to 3 fledgling liberal arts colleges that the foundation had established in Eastern Europe. Starting an institution of higher learning is no small matter, particularly in an area of the world that had experienced the harsh legacy of fascism and communism. When I asked one of the rectors why he was so committed to the model of a liberal arts college, he told me something that speaks volumes about the reasons we are here today. He said, "You forget, quote, you forget that the velvet revolutions of Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and Poland were started by playwrights, economists, historians, physicists, and journalists who were steeped in the liberal arts tradition. That tradition kept the flame of human dignity alive under the threat of authoritarian rule. It sustained a vision of freedom and a just society that eventually led to our liberation," end quote. I can't give any better account of the importance of the liberal arts than that. That is why institutions like Pomona and Occidental matter. And they matter just as much in sunny Southern California as they do under the gray skies of Eastern Europe. Perhaps never more so than in a country like our own, which is so thoroughly divided and so much in need of repair. I am absolutely convinced that the education you have received at Pomona College is the very best preparation you could possibly have to address the concerns of a country that sorely needs your thoughtfulness, your deliberation, your character, and your vision. I wish you well on this fine day, on the occasion of your graduation from this very fine institution. Thank you.